on YouTube now. We have many of our faculty and teachers already with us. So another 1 minute, it's going to be 3:30, and we will start with your permission, Dr. Mehta and Dr. Sandeep.
Sure, sir.
It's 3:30, and I think time to start. Am I permitted, Mehta sir, Vivek, Sandeep sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Wonderful. So good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, teachers. Good afternoon, Dr. Sandeep Chauhan. Good afternoon, Dr. Mehta. Good afternoon, Vivek. My name is Atul Khosla. I am the founder and pro-vice chancellor of Shulini University, Kasauli Hills, Himachal Pradesh. It's my honor and delight to welcome all of you to Ideas That Matter, series of webinars by Shulini University. Vivek and I started this small initiative around, I think, 8 weeks ago, and something that was very small has now become a small revolution. I would say a big snowball. We have now touched more than 100,000 teachers, more than 100 schools and colleges across India, and we've gone as far as Calcutta in our discussions. The whole idea behind today and Ideas That Matter is to talk to each one of us, get ideas from each other, inspire each other, and hopefully in the process inspire our students. I'm delighted to have Vivek Atre with me today as the presenter for the day. Vivek is an ex-IS officer, a TEDx speaker, a motivational speaker, the architect of the IT Park of Chandigarh, but more importantly to me, a very dear friend and also a visiting professor to Shulini University. As a quick introduction, my name is Atul Khosla. I'm a BTech from IIT Kanpur, an MBA. I spent 20 years in the industry working in different parts of the world. My last position was CEO of a very large consulting firm called Oliver Wyman in India. And then the teaching bug hit me, and I love to teach. I'm also the dean of our business school here, and I teach strategy and finance. So with that introduction, I'll request Dr. Mehta to give us a small introduction of his team today, and would love a small talk from you, Dr. Mehta, and we'll get into the discussion then with Vivek. We'll take around 30 minutes. And then we'll get into a Q&A with all the lovely teachers over here, and we'd love all of you to be in the panel, and both you, Dr. Sandeep and Dr. Mehta, to answer everyone's questions. So Dr. Mehta, over to you. You've got a minute.
Good afternoon, everybody. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome today's main speaker, Mr. Vivek Atre, ex-IS, author of TEDx. I also extend my heartiest welcome to Mr. Atul Khosla, who is founder and pro-VC of Shulini University. I must thank you from the core of my heart on behalf of each faculty members, on behalf of each faculty members and my students, that you have taken a great initiative. Today, everybody talks of IQ, intelligence quotient, but considering the present circumstances, I think the today's talk regarding intelligence, emotional intelligence, I think IQ is nothing, if we don't attach EQ with it. Emotional intelligence is to recognize not only their own emotions, but also help us to recognize emotions of others. In workplace, if we can't understand the emotions of others, then we are not a lead. No way we can consider ourselves leaders. It helps us to relieve our stress. We can communicate effectively. We can manage our day-to-day work with better IQ and better EQ. I think I once again thank especially University who gave us this opportunity to be the part of this webinar series And my heart I also thank our coordinators, Mr. Sandeep Chauhan, who took this initiative. Once again, I welcome Vivek Atre, who is the main speaker. I hope my team will definitely benefit from your talk. Thank you very much. Over to
Thank you very much, Dr. Mehta. It's a true honor once again to invite all of you and all the faculty. There's some, Kamal, there are some questions over there. Tushar sir is asking for the meeting ID. You might want to respond to that, Kamal. But Vivek, over to you for your scintillating session. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you, Atul Khosla. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mehta ji and Sandeep ji. And thank you, Kamal ji, for putting it together. Shikha also, a lot of hard work has gone into this session. So I'll be speaking on emotional intelligence, and we have been holding these webinars with various institutions in the last couple of months and more. Over 51 sessions, I believe, have been held, and many more than 70 institutions have been touched. So it's wonderful to be in the presence of about 76 people are on the conversation in Zoom, maybe many more on YouTube as well. So nice to meet you all. These days meetings are like this online, and this is the new way of meeting. So it's okay to meet like this. So next time you meet somebody who you met earlier online, you say, once again, it's nice to meet you, because this is also considered to be a meeting. So let me say that all of us are in the field of education. All of us are in the field of being professional. All of us have certain expectations from life. All of us have certain pluses and certain minuses. So all of us need emotional intelligence to handle them. Firstly, let me say that these webinars have interesting topics. We have kept about 5 or 6 different topics for you to choose from. And Atul and I have been speaking on all these topics. This one, which you have chosen, is a very interesting topic on emotional intelligence. So firstly, let me define it in my own words. Daniel Goleman is the father of emotional intelligence and the concept. And he basically talks about self-development, self-awareness, empathy, and all the kinds of things that make up emotional intelligence. I define it very simply as the ability to handle people and situations in a calm and balanced manner. So anybody who has emotional intelligence will not be too disturbed by life and its happenings, will not lose temper very frequently, will keep in control of his or her responses, reactions, interactions, statements, words, sentences spoken. So he will be able to control, or she will be able to control, according to the situation and the people around, the conduct or the behavior that is being presented to the rest of the world. So within us, we often go through turmoil. Turmoil means lots of stress, lots of difficulties, lots of tensions, and yet we come out of them. We come and go. Even this huge pandemic which is taking place all over, some people are more impacted than others, not only physically but also mentally. There are people who are sitting in quite a safe zone. Let us say there is a city like Bangalore which is not very much affected, yet there may be people in Bangalore who are more depressed or more worried or more scared than somebody in Mumbai, which is more affected. These are psychological factors. These psychological factors come to some people more readily, and others are more cool and calm and unruffled. So let me say emotional intelligence has a few components. The first component is awareness of yourself, awareness of your mind. If we are aware of how our mind behaves in a certain situation, if we are aware of how we behave in a certain situation, then firstly we'll be able to handle ourselves a little better. Otherwise, what happens is that we tend to not even be aware that we are the angry kind of person, or we are the irritated kind of person, or we are the negative kind of person. Let's take these 3 examples. We are not talking about perfect people who are very cheerful and cool and calm at all times. I wish I could also be one of them. I try. Atul also, we work on ourselves. But let us talk about 3 examples of people who lose their cool. One is a sort of person who loses his temper. That means every 1 hour or every 20 minutes even, he has to shout at somebody for a small thing, usually a small thing. This paper is not okay, this glass is not okay, this table is not okay, the fan is not working. Of course, in Shimla, you don't need fans much. In the summers, I know people have fans in Shimla. And I must also tell you, my wife is from Shimla, so more details later. But that means that you can be irritated by things which are not worth being irritated about. Somebody who loses his cool or her cool all day long is somebody who is not in control of his or her mind. Then the next person is negative. Negative means not angry, but complaining. This is not okay, that is not okay. I often give the example of a Shatabdi Express from Delhi to Chandigarh. If I board the Shatabdi Express when it's running, and in 3 hours I reach Delhi, or 3.5 hours, there will be one person in the coach who is speaking the loudest on the phone, and he is the one who is critical of others. He'll say something on the phone to his junior. He'll say, "Tumne wo theek nahi kiya," which is okay. Maybe he is a boss, he has to say it early morning. It is about 7 o'clock in the morning. Train starts, he also starts on the phone. Next, he'll call up his wife and say, "You didn't pack so-and-so thing in my bag. I just checked, and you have not packed my so-and-so handkerchief or whatever." So my wife is also under stress now. Then the next is that he'll read the newspaper and he will come to the conclusion that the government is bad, the cricket team is bad, the scientific community is bad, the JE of the municipality is the worst, and everybody is terrible in the world except him. And then lastly, the waiter will come with the tea, coffee, and breakfast, and he will find fault in that. He will ask for the complaint book. This is an ultra negative person. There are people like that. I have met them, seen them. They are always there. One of them is always there in every train coach. So what are we looking at to improve? If we are aware that we have certain portions of anger, certain portions of irritability, certain portions of negativity, then we need to find out first whether we are like that. Maybe we are a little bit like that, which is okay. We are human. We feel bad at times, low at times, angry at times, negative at times. It's all right. We can do that. But if we are in a leadership position, now this is coming to you, or we are teaching, or we are professors, or we are administrators, we are educationists, people look up to us. People look up to a father and mother, children look up to them, and students look up to teachers. How we conduct ourselves will have a large bearing on how the new generation is learning. And they will also pick up those things. So they will start observing us more than listening to us. You are aware that what parents tell their children, they don't do. But the parents, whatever they do, the children will copy. Even so, when I give my favorite example, that parents are driving and crossing red lights. In Chandigarh or Panchkula, it happens more. I was posted in Panchkula and I used to tell them that Chandigarh's rules are tougher, that's why you take them lightly here. But Panchkula, if they cross red lights and the children are growing up to 18 and they tell them, you are not to cross the red light. Beta, tum gaadi chalane lage ho ya scooter, tumne red light cross nahi karna. So wo to dekh rahe hain, the parents have been crossing red lights forever. They will not listen to them. So what does it mean? It means a negative person or a person who is loose in his emotional control is someone who we need to not emulate. That person needs to improve by analyzing and introspecting. I think I'll pause here to allow Atul to come in with his thoughts. And I'll continue after Atul has shared his thoughts. And also, I think Atul has a film on a beautiful amount of research that is being carried out at Shulini University. Over to you, Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. Before I start, I'll just ask you, am I audible?
Absolutely. Clear.
Fantastic. So good afternoon, everyone, once again, and welcome to this very inspiring talk by Vivek Atre. When we speak about EQ, one of the most important things about EQ is inspiration. How do we inspire the people around us? Leaders who do exceptionally well are great, I would say, inspirational people. They inspire people to do extraordinary things. We as teachers inspire our students pretty much every day to come up and do extraordinary things and become leaders in their own rights. The role of inspiration and the role of EQ is actually rapidly increasing in this new world. Let's take the example of what's really happening. Knowledge, which was so critical for the industrial economy, for the economy till the 20th century, is becoming redundant. You don't need knowledge to succeed anymore. A robot has knowledge, a computer has knowledge, and we all have Wikipedia. But a computer cannot emulate emotional intelligence. And that's what's going to be the key critical skills for people to succeed. So what is EQ and how do we teach EQ to our students? So there are two things I'll speak about over here. One is what I call me skills. Me skills are my skills, skills such as leadership, skills such as creativity, inspiration, and we skills, which are needed to work with others. These are collaboration skills, team building skills, communication skills. And as we as teachers think about success of our students, apart from the teaching we give them, the learning we give them on what we call courses or subjects, it is these me and we skills also that become extremely, extremely important. I'm going to talk about inspiration for a second because inspiration is very, very core to me and very critical to me, Vivek. That's what I believe makes ordinary people extraordinary. So the starting point of inspiration is by creating an inspirational environment. I'd like to show a small video of Shuluni here, which I find extremely inspiring. If you allow me, Vivek.
Sure, please go ahead.
Vivek, this video is the story of Aman. Aman is a student at Shulini. She's doing a PhD in biotechnology at Shulini. She was an average student for her master's. Magic happened. Something happened in her PhD. She has discovered a molecule which, when added to water, kills bacterial activity by 99.9%. It's such a huge and a big thing that she's been awarded the Young Water Fellow. The Young Water Fellow is an award of United Nations where more than 100,000 researchers every year apply for it. So here is Aman from a small town. She comes from a lesser privileged family of Punjab, studied in a small town like Solan, and goes out and wins an award where every top scientist is applying, whether it's Harvard, MIT, IITs, and the likes. So what makes her so successful? I think it's about inspiration. I think it's about creativity. It's about leadership that she gets from her guide. But more importantly, I think the ability to express her thoughts, the ability to be fearless in the way she thinks, thinking outside the box, and lots of support from the people around her. Now, all of this when happens, and they come together, magic happens. There is no secret formula to it, but I think if each of us think that we have to be leaders in our own right, if each of us start believing that we can inspire others, if each of us become collaborators rather than lone players, magic will happen and we'll have many Amans around. We're trying very hard at Shulini. There are lots of patterns apart from Aman which are coming through, and hopefully this journey will continue. So if there are 3 thoughts I want to leave our teachers over here on inspiration, on EQ, it's going to be creativity, it's going to be the thought of leadership, and it's going to be the thought of collaboration, which is working with each other. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you, Atul. Thank you very much. Very interesting. Let us talk a little more about what Atul said, creativity and inspiration. So I told you before the break as to what should not be there. We should not be angry. We should not be irritated. We should not be negative. We are human. We will face moments where we lose our temper, cool, and balance. But only once in a while it is okay. Once in a while when things are bad or going tough, it's okay to feel irritated or angry, but not most of the time, not frequently. Also, let me say that it is important for us to realize who is present in front of us when we are saying something. When the children are present, you will not say certain things. When the in-laws are present, you will not say certain things. When the boss is present, you will not say certain things. Normally, people know these things. But do we know that we cannot snub somebody, scold somebody in front of a junior of that person? Supposing our immediate subordinate is doing something wrong, we have to tell him this is not right. But his subordinate is also there, we cannot say. Emotional intelligence tells us how to carry ourselves, how to conduct ourselves, when to say what in front of whom and how. Let me repeat that. When to say what in front of whom and how. So this is something we need to realize and analyze. If we are the sorts who don't watch our speech while somebody is around, then we need to watch our speech. If we talk of inspiration and creativity, it is also linked to emotional intelligence. Creativity is something which gives a higher level of living. Somebody who has a 9-to-5 job is fine, is doing his job diligently, honestly, and getting paid salaries for it. That is okay. However, if the same person plays the guitar on a Sunday, does photography on a weekend, or goes trekking, or does some NGO work with some children in the village, then life becomes different. It is a creative life, an innovative life. And suddenly that fulfilling feeling is there. Otherwise, how much can we read the newspapers? And after retirement, what do we do? When we have retired from our post, and I took voluntary retirement at the age of 50, and I am so happy. This is 2.5 years ago. I'm delighted that I took voluntary retirement, served for 26 years, and then I didn't want to do 10 years, and then I'm fine. I want to be creative now. After retirement, we will not find time, or we won't find it easy to become creative. It is now the time that when we are 30, 40, 50, whatever we are, even 20, we need to start being creative now. What is that creativity? It is creativity at work, creativity outside work. If we have a creative mindset, we will start thinking, why is this particular thing placed here? Is this notice board always going to look like this? Can I improve this notice board? Sarkari notice boards I've seen all my life, they never change. The same notice is stuck there for the 1 year also. Nobody looks at it. Can I put some flowers over there? Can I put some colored sheet next time? Can I write welcome to our facility or whatever it is? So as an officer, I always used to try to get in some creativity at the workplace. Even light music coming out of the computer is okay if people are working. And if we can have a creativity session in our organization once a month, a meeting on creativity, ideas to improve our organization, become better as a force, as a team, and it's very important. And Atul mentioned the word collaboration, working together, enhancing your own value while enhancing the value of the organization, a win-win situation. And personal creativity means you are an all-rounder. As I said, guitar, music, art, writing, photography, poetry, sports, anything that gives you joy has to be part of your life. It could be cooking, and cooking could involve different kinds of cooking. And there are things that you can do which are different from the norm without breaking any rules of society. That is also necessary. But we can be creative in so many ways. So I know that Himachal also is a very creative place. I don't know whether this is a very accepted story or not, but I have often enjoyed, and I'm not, it's a commercial thing, so I don't know whether I should mention, but I will. There are these Bhuira jams and achars and chutneys. They are from Chandigarh, Panchkula. Whenever we go uphill and find these Bhuira jams and chutneys, we find them so creative, so different from others that we pick them up. Somebody thought of a women's cooperative, I read about it, and launched it as a creative measure. And that is very, very important. So now let me say that it is very, very important that we think creatively to be emotionally intelligent. Otherwise, a routine life is going to force us to be negative. A routine life is going to force us to be negative. Why? Because we go through the same mind processes. We read the same newspaper. We meet the same people. We listen to the same newsreader every day. And newsreaders are the worst people these days. Some of them are my friends, so I can say it very clearly. Don't listen to them too much. Negativity is flowing at you. Find creativity instead of negativity. A negative person cannot be creative. A creative person will never be negative. So it is seldom that he or she will be negative. So creativity actually enhances your emotional intelligence, ability to handle negativity, ability to handle ups and downs. Who doesn't face ups and downs? Everybody does. So let me talk about somebody who was Arthur Ashe, who was a tennis champion, Wimbledon champion, and he was the first black tennis player to win Wimbledon. What happened to him? It was something very sad. After he won Wimbledon, 10 years later, he was dying. He was ill, critically ill, and he got letters from all over the world. And then what happened? He was asked, why is this happening to you? Why not to somebody else? And he replied, he said, when I won Wimbledon, I did not ask God, why have I done so well? Why am I the Wimbledon champion? Why is this happening to me that I'm on top of the world? Now when I'm dying, I have no right to ask God, why is this happening to me? Because when he put me on top of the world, I did not question. I thought it is my birthright. Now, when something bad is happening, I have no right. This is an inspiring story. We learn inspiration from such people. Emotional intelligence means that we are grateful, not thankless. We are thankful to all. We are thankful to all. That is very, very, very important. And if we are thankful to all, then we are thankful to God, thankful to our family, and we basically are happy people. Ultimately, Atul will also talk about happiness, and I must add that a person who is high in emotional intelligence is a cheerful, happy person. A person who is easy to get along with. A person who has goodwill, helpful to others, a lot of empathy for others, putting himself into other people's shoes. Barack Obama is my favorite political leader in the last 20 years. I have never seen anyone as cheerful as him in the hot seat, President of the US. We know how cheerful or let's say grumpy the present person is. Barack Obama, always smiling, always showing leadership qualities, great communication skills, great orator, always helping people. Can we be under stress in a position of authority, humble and grateful? Then we are high in emotional intelligence. And not only the reason is to have high emotional intelligence or high EQ, we're not getting any certificate for it. What we are getting is peace of mind. And ultimately, what matters in life is peace of mind and goodwill. I've got a book here, which is my own book written by me. It is called Finding Success Within. It is Finding Success Within by Vivek Atre. That's my name. 52 life skills for young people. It is available on Amazon. I wrote it and it was published in March this year. It is for young people, but also not so young people. I've given 52 points of the kind I'm talking about now. But I've also given things like presentation skills, public speaking skills, meeting skills, leadership skills, team skills, etc. What I'm trying to tell you is that in this book, I've mentioned that to find success, you have to find happiness. It is not the money or the marks or the material acquisitions which will give you success. It is the inner peace. And for inner peace, my favorite book is here. It is the autobiography of a yogi. And this is something which I love, I feel, I follow. It is Paramahansa Yogananda, autobiography of a yogi. Yesterday was International Yoga Day. And Yogananda ji is recognized as one of the persons who spread the knowledge of Indian yoga and meditation across the world, in America and other countries. So he is my idol. I've read this book so many times, and I love the way he has told us about life and how we should be. And meditation is the most important thing in that. There is something that we must really follow. Meditation is something which will give us peace of mind, will give us equanimity or even-mindedness. It will give us spiritual growth. And my last point to you before I hand over to Atul again is that we are now in a phase of our careers. We are not youngsters starting out. So when we are in our careers, we need to realize that there is still time to improve, still time to become better. And we don't know everything under the sun. It's always important to keep learning, keep improving, keep upgrading yourselves. And we are a conglomerate of body, mind, and soul. We need to work on all three aspects of our life. Only then we'll be cheerful, happy, and successful. That's what I had to say. Thank you. And over to you, Atul.
Thank you, Vivek. I think there were some challenges when I showed the video earlier.
Yes.
I think I just stuck. So let me try again. And if it doesn't work, Vivek, I'll request you to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Okay.
I didn't realize it because I just went to do something.
Okay, let me play it and Vivek, tell me if it's working this time. Is it working?
Yeah, it's working.
Perfect. Friends, this is the story of Aman. Like I said, Aman was not the most intelligent of students, but magic happened. She won the Young Water Fellow, a very prestigious award. More than 100,000 researchers across the world apply for it. She spent 6 months in Geneva, then came back and won a 25 lakh award by Tata Trust. And I attribute all of this to EQ and not to IQ. The ability to collaborate with others across the world, the ability to work with her co-workers, the ability to think outside the box, be creative, but more importantly for her guide to inspire her. And that's when magic happens. So Vivek, this was the whole topic about EQ. I have a question for you at this juncture. A lot of the people of the audience right now, either students or teachers, they all want to be exceptionally successful. I think all of us do want to be. So how should they balance IQ versus EQ in your mind? Is it just about IQ or is it just about EQ, or it's a balance of the both?
I think that's a very good point. IQ and EQ are both essential, as you know, and we have to balance them. If we are very, very intelligent in terms of using our left side of the brain, as you know, it is IQ. And if we are using the right side of the brain, we are more creative. That's the right side of the brain. But if we are very intelligent and we don't have people skills or emotional intelligence, I don't think life is very cheerful or happy for us. We might have a great mathematical brain, but we don't know how to say thank you or smile at somebody. A person who is illiterate and maybe he polishes shoes and doesn't have much intelligence, let's say, he might, but maybe he doesn't. And he is very cheerful, talks nicely to people with high EQ. Is any day much better than someone who doesn't have EQ at all. So I would say the ideal balance is high IQ and high EQ, but out of the two, EQ is more important.
And if I'm a teacher, then how do I go about inspiring my students, Vivek? I mean, what would you do? I mean, you've been working with people with so much of varied backgrounds, so many people across the board. How do you go about inspiring your co-workers? Especially, let's take the example of COVID. You've got these police walas and we've got all the bureaucrats working very, very hard. So how do you inspire them in this very tough time?
I think it's the ability to stay positive and calm and cheerful. They watch you. They don't listen too much to pep talks, and the pep talks work for a while. But until the leader himself or herself is taking everything in their stride and going about their work in a very hardworking way and leading from the front, then the workforce is inspired. A police officer who is taking things on from the forefront, all his people will be inspired. I'll tell you the example of the Harwant or Harnek or somebody, the Punjab police officer who lost one arm in Patiala. You know that the entire police force of Punjab, from DGP down, they all posted pictures on Facebook saying, I am so-and-so, usi ka naam leke, inspiring their unit, their force, that I am also so-and-so, Harnek, let's presume his name was Harnek. So I am Harnek, I am Harnek, I am Harnek, which means we need to instill that josh in our people as teachers as well as students. But mainly we need to be a role model to inspire them.
Absolutely fantastic. We'd love questions from you teachers, so please keep asking questions. At this juncture, I'll also request Dr. Sandeep and Mehta sir to please join us for the panel discussion. If you could unmute yourselves and come onto the panel, I'll truly appreciate Sandeep sir and Mehta sir. And I have a question for both of you. You've been very experienced teachers yourselves. You've inspired so many students to do extraordinary things. I'll give a small example of me, Vivek. I was not a very good student at school and college. So I actually did my 11th and 12th from Government Degree College, Solan, and then went to IIT Kanpur after that. And the reason it happened was because of some absolutely fantastic inspirational teachers that I had at Government Degree College. So what's your mantra, Dr. Sandeep? I can't see Dr. Mehta as yet, so we'll come to him later. But how do you go about inspiring your students? I'm sure you have lots and lots of examples. So what do you have to say on this?
Sir, as far as, is my voice audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible to you? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Yes, before I share my experience, I would like to ask one important question to Mr. Atre. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Atre, sir.
please ask. Go ahead.
Yes. How to make the combination of emotional quotient and emotional intelligence and emotional quotient? First of all, I would like to ask you, what is the difference between EQ and EI? Because I'm not clear about this. Emotional quotient and emotional intelligence. First question. Second, how to make balance between emotional intelligence and emotional quotient? How to make balance between these two?
Yeah, so
To get success.
I can understand your question. The thing is that EI is a quality, emotional intelligence is a quality, and EQ is a measure. EQ is an index,
Okay.
right? It's like you are a teacher, you understand. So IQ is a Mensa IQ or some IQ, they'll give you a number. So your intelligence is your quality, and intelligence quotient is your number, the score you have,
Okay.
the level at which you are. So similarly, EI and EQ. And out of the two, to balance your EQ and IQ, it is important that you work on your sharpening your skills all life. So for example, if you are intelligent, you're trying to upgrade yourselves in terms of knowledge, in terms of skills in your work. Supposing you're an electrical engineer, you really need to know the latest that is happening across the world. You're sharpening your intelligence by reading up, by learning best practices, and then you apply that to your work. Whereas your EQ, you will have to sharpen by analyzing your behavior, conduct, and your mind. There, you don't need a psychologist. You need to know yourself better. If you are the sort who slips up on two factors, let's say, one factor could be anger, and let us say the second factor could be that you don't realize who is present while saying something. Let us say,
Okay.
we say something, then we regret it. People are, I can be like that, anyone can be like that. So if I know this fact, then I will start working on it week after week. I will reduce that tendency once I realize. So there are two different things. Once we improve in both, we will improve life.
Thank you, sir.
So I have one question for you, Vivek. We come across with bosses who are very tough. Well, tough is the wrong word, but who have poor EQ. Bosses who sort of are pushing us all around all the time. I'm sure you've had similar situations. How do you deal with such bosses? What do you do?
Bosses. So actually, I must give the example of the bosses. There is a chapter in my book called Handling Difficult Bosses. And one guest of honor at my book launch, he could not pronounce bosses because he's from a particular part of India and they have a natural tendency. So he says, handling difficult bosses. And I also got a little confused for a second, but then I realized. So bosses can be of difficult kinds. Yes, I have had many of them. And your EQ can be higher than your boss. Your EQ or your understanding, your way of speaking could be superior to your boss's. Your boss has, by virtue of seniority, by virtue of whatever, is become your boss. Now you have to somehow help the boss, because he's helping the organization, hopefully, to improve himself by being that sounding board, that person who somehow corrects him if he's going wrong without, and it's a very tricky situation. Obviously, the boss is the boss. He can't be told something. So it's I have done it in my career. That's why what you ask is very relevant. I had a boss who was temperamental and would say things which were not supposed to be said. So I would sometimes, sir, ये वाली बात थोड़ी ज़्यादा हो गई, अगर आप ये ना बोलते तो अच्छा रहता. When later we were sitting together, then he would realize that this guy has a point. It's very tricky, but we try and, somehow we get on with the boss, it's better. If we don't get on with our boss, then parting of ways has to take place. So we try and make up with the boss like that.
Absolutely. I think Dr. Gitanjali Kaushal has an example over here. She's asking you, Vivek, that she's saying, how do we encourage some of our colleagues to become volunteers in official work? I think she's saying people of the same age, how do we make sure that they, work together? How do we align them for official work? What's your sense, Vivek?
I think it's a very valid point, and I've never come across this question before, but I realize it's important because people of the same age group, or let us say same level, they will find it difficult to be told something. So you cannot tell them, ye karo, ye karo, ye karo, because they are obviously the same level as you or the same age group. So it is important to inspire them and use tact. Tact means that you have a way to say something, the same thing when said in a way which makes them move forward will be better. If you say, कि आपने तो कुछ नहीं किया अभी तक, so then no, naturally that person is going to feel offended. But if we say that अभी तक हम लोग ज्यादा आगे नहीं बढ़ पाए हैं, मुझे लगता है कि आप अगर ऐसे करेंगे तो बहुत अच्छा हो सकता है, आपका क्या ख्याल है? You give importance to this person, the way you're speaking, that matters, and then perhaps you can spur them on, and also get your boss to talk to them. That is a shortcut method.
So one question, Vivek, which we've been asked all the time when we speak about EQ, is the difference between people who are extrovert and introvert. So do extroverts have better IQ or better EQ than introverts? And if I'm an introvert, how do I exude my EQ? How do I build relationships if I'm an introvert?
I think in the EQ score, there is a point for being a good communicator and not keeping things for yourself. But being an extrovert does not necessarily mean that you have a high EQ, because in that case, you might actually be coming out with things which are not to be said, or you're too extrovertish. So balancing between being an introvert and an extrovert, so somebody who knows when to keep quiet, knows when to speak, how to speak, that is probably the best balance. And I think you need to be confident, but you need to be calm. Calm confidence is the way.
As you always say, be actively calm and calmly active.
Absolutely, Paramahansa Yogananda, yes.
So I think I'll again request our audience to ask questions. We
There are a
have
couple
around
more,
5 minutes, but okay, why don't you pick them up, Vivek?
Yeah, I see one, the mathematical relation between IQ and EQ. Well, Dr. Satish Kumar, the parameters are different, and you can have a look at the score. It's very easy to find it online. The details I don't have with me, but they are different qualities and different parameters are there. So you can have a look as to what they are. But definitely emotional quotient involves emotions. So it involves your mannerisms, your conduct, your behavior, your empathy, your happiness levels, your balance. Whereas IQ involves your brain, only your brain. And that is something else.
So Meenakshi ma'am is asking a very interesting question. Have you ever felt depressed, Vivek?
Oh, I think you and I both will answer this one by one.
I will definitely.
Of course, Meenakshi ma'am. Everyone feels depressed. Looking at me and Atul now, you might think that we are quite cheerful all the time, but we are human, and we do go through those, and everyone goes through them. And when you feel depressed, then you have to bounce back. That's the only thing I know. Earlier times, I could be depressed for a long time when I was a student. And today I've written something which appeared yesterday. Actually, I'll try and share it with you all through Atul and through Kamal. That young achievers need care and counseling. So I've written about Sushant Singh Rajput, young successful people, how they need more care and counseling. So people of any level, any part of the world can be depressed. But how you come out of it and how deep you go, that is what varies. So I think I have been depressed, but I came out. Now I come out of it very soon. I actually, to be very frank with you, I don't feel depressed these days at all. And it is because of my meditation. It's very, very, very rare that I feel depressed now.
Vivek, at this juncture, I'd like to bring out a research that was done by Harvard over three generations of professionals. One set of professionals were students of Harvard, and another set of professionals were people from the street of Boston. And they have evaluated them over 3 generations to see which are the people who are more successful and which are the people who've been living healthier lives. And the answer is actually very interesting. The answer is that individuals who were happier were more successful, and individuals who were less happier were less successful. And the second finding really is that individuals who had social support, who lived in a community, who had friends, and who had great relationships ended up being happier, ended up being more successful, and lived longer than people who were not, who were loners in life. So I think the learning also is that when you're depressed, reach out to friends, reach out to family. They're out there to support you, especially parents. It's amazing the amount of resilience they have. And I think you know this, Vivek. So just reach out to people around. And it's not just rishis and elders telling you, but it's hardcore science from behavioral scientists of Harvard who tells you that you need to be happy to succeed. You need to be happy to have high EQ, and you need to be happy to actually have a longer life. So let's try to be happy. I think there's some questions coming up on Q&A, but before that, Santosh Kumari ma'am is asking, meditation is really the key, I think, absolutely, ma'am. And Aarti ma'am is asking, how do you help youngsters come out of depression because of COVID? Vivek, you want to pick this up?
Sorry, Atul, can the question be repeated? I can't see. Where is the question?
Aarti Gupta is asking on chat, how can we help our youngsters come out of depression in COVID-19?
Yes. Actually, Aarti ji, this is absolutely a valid question because everybody is feeling strained and stressed at COVID. Children, first of all, we need to not speak negatively in front of them. No news about COVID, this, that, and too much of fear psychosis. So whenever you hear something good, then keep on repeating it. Now Himachal is doing very well. The number of serious cases in Himachal is very low. I read that today in the paper, actually. So you have to talk about positive things in front of them because they perceive things very quickly. And your own mood has to be better. They will also become start feeling better. Secondly, you read them inspiring stories. If they are old enough, they should read the inspiring stories themselves. That is how it will work better.
So Tushar, who is a student of Government College St. Jolly, has a question, Vivek, in the Q&A.
Yes.
And his question is that, yeah, you want to pick this up?
Okay, thank you. It is that being socially active is a very big pressure, and if you're not, that puts a pressure on you to be. That affects your emotional balance. So what you are saying that everybody is expected to be socially active, and being socially active is something that is necessary. But I don't think you will find it difficult, Tushar. You see, at a certain age, we don't have also the confidence at times to talk to people. Being socially overactive is not required, but when somebody is there to be spoken to, or when we need to go to somebody and meet them, we should have the confidence to do so. So being overactive on social media or too much of an extrovert, meeting lots of people every day is not required. What you need to do is to have the self-confidence, you build up that, and then your social activity will become naturally, it will become possible for you to be socially active to the required extent. That's all.
I also agree with you, Vivek. Tushar, don't come under pressure. There are different individuals. You're all born different. Some people love to be with people. Some people love to be introverts. There is no secret sauce for success. There are people who are introverts who are very successful, and there were people who were extroverts who were very successful. So I would say be confident and be comfortable with the way you are. If you're not that confident and comfortable being with lots and lots of friends, don't push yourself. Don't put yourself under pressure. There's no right or wrong answer. Vikram Shri is asking, how do we get out of a long depression about which you were not aware of?
Yeah, so this can also happen. Sometimes we are we don't even realize it. But you have to see generally how this person or you feels about life. And how do you feel when you get up in the morning? One very simple indicator which doctors also tell and experts say is that when you get up in the morning, you keep lying in the bed for about 10 minutes. You don't feel like getting out of bed. Of course, in Shimla, when it's cold, I can understand. You don't feel like getting out of your quilt. But otherwise, when we wake up, we should get up normally. It's maybe 2 or 3 minutes you take to just unwind. But it is indicators like this. Don't feel like talking to someone. Somebody has called. I don't feel like, no, tell them I'm not there or whatever. This is an indication of feeling low. And generally, what kind of thoughts are coming? Are they critical, negative, depression kinds of thoughts? So it's very normal to be like that a little bit, not too much. So recognize.
So I would also say, if it's coming too much, Vikram, go and see a doctor, a psychiatrist. So I don't know what the rationale of the reason for your question, but don't kill yourself if there are too many such questions coming. There are doctors to help. Sometimes you might need little medication, but don't take it lightly. Go take professional help, which is again the question that Damini is asking. Can we improve our EQ and should we visit a psychiatrist in times?
No, Damini, you don't need to visit.
Yes.
You don't need to visit a psychiatrist. You don't need to even measure your EQ. I mean, there's no need. You can do a test online. No, don't worry about that. But you have to recognize what kind of person you are. Find out how is your mind. Is it a panicky mind? Is it a worried kind of mind? Or is it a confident mind or calm mind? Sometimes you're getting upset, it's okay. Are you getting upset every day, many times a day? So if your negatives are more, then your EQ is low. So find out about that. Psychiatrist is needed only if you are severely depressed or you are not even able to speak in front of people. Then you need a psychiatrist. Otherwise, you don't. Keep on working on yourself.
So Aarti ma'am is asking a good question. She's saying, what do we do? We don't meet our students nowadays. How do we get them out of stress and how do we inspire them?
Yeah, Atul, absolutely. We need to inspire our students, especially nowadays. I find sports related stories to be superb. You tell them stories of even Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni. You tell them about Saina Nehwal, PV Sindhu. Tell them Usain Bolt or Bradman or Tendulkar. Anybody who inspires. And even Amitabh Bachchan's story, didn't get a job anywhere and was rejected by All India Radio. They said his voice was not good enough. And Amitabh Bachchan became Amitabh Bachchan. So these are the kinds of things they need to watch and listen to and read. Reading books will also help them, inspiring books. That's what I say.
I think you can also help build communities, Aarti, so you can connect different students together, start speaking to parents. So building communities virtually can be done, and that really, really helps. Of course, as Vivek is saying, interacting with them, having lots of webinars like these does help. I know some people are cynical around webinars, but we are seeing them very, very helpful and valuable. I'm going to pick up one question, Vivek, and I'm also going to answer it after you do. There are lots of Himachal students who are asking that, we don't have great communication skills, so we don't feel very confident. As a result, we start feeling depressed. How do we overcome this? So what's your thought on that? And I would like to answer this also because I'm also Himachali and I grew up in Solan.
Yes.
But why don't you first answer this?
Yeah, I can see that question in the box. Yes. So my question, your question is that how can a person express himself or herself and be confident? So this is something which comes with practice. You need to start speaking to your sister, brother, make them sit down and speak for 10 minutes. Tell them to listen, give them a chocolate later because they listen to you for 10 minutes. Otherwise, sister, brother will not sit down. Be confident in front of your family first. Your best friend, make that best friend sit down. Most people are able to speak to their best friends. They tell them everything about life, everything about their heartbreaks and everything. They can share with that person. But when it comes to someone else, they stop. They can't speak. So first get your all your things out there with your friends and your close relatives, and then start practicing maybe in front of a bigger audience, and then with one or two new people. Gradually, you'll get out of it. And Atul has a great example for you on this, I think. Atul.
Yeah, absolutely. So Yogita was asking this. I can tell you, Yogita, I grew up in Himachal. I'm a Solan boy. I couldn't speak a word of English till I went to IIT Kanpur to study. And even at IIT, I was very shy. I could not express myself. When I started working, my boss called me and said, Atul, we have to fire you, means we have to let you go. You don't have the right communication skills. So rather than sulk, I requested for more time. And you know what I did, Yogita? I bought a camera, a camcorder as they used to call it in those days. And I would speak every day to the camera for 1 hour, every day for the next 7 years. And I learned how to speak. So you can learn to do whatever you want, but you have to put in effort. Jugat lagani padegi, Yogita. If you really want to do it, there's so many forums right now. You can even get confidence by doing stuff like TikTok. You can start recording your own blogs or vlogs. You can start speaking to friends over Zoom, for example. You can run your own webinar. So get the confidence. Worst case, people might laugh at you, but who cares about people? Build your confidence, practice, practice, practice. And like what Vivek said, ultimately you'll succeed. So the questions on Dr. Gitanjali is asking, good communication is about confidence, language, expression. I agree with you, Gitanjali, ma'am, but we know so many people who don't have good language. Let's take the example of Mr. Modi. He doesn't know English very well, but when he speaks English, he speaks it so well that people listen to him. I think it's so much about confidence. It's so much about clarity of thought. And it's so much about just making sure that you are yourself. You're not trying to copy anyone. So I think Himachal students, I completely agree, need a lot of confidence. So I would also request the teachers over here, invite them to come and present in front of the class again and again and again. We do a lot of that at Shilini. You know, you do it 5 times, you will learn how to speak. I'll give a small example of me, Vivek. I can't dance. I am so afraid of dancing. But when my students come and ask me to dance in front of them, I make a point to go and dance over there. Because after 6 times, I have now learned, I wouldn't say I've learned how to dance, but I've learned how to be confident. However bad I am, I know that, you know, they laugh and they'll make a little bit of fun of me, but that's okay. So don't be afraid of public speaking. And reach out to Vivek. He's a great public speaker. He helps lots and lots of people around public speaking. I'm sure he'll be happy to help you, Yogita, Tamanna, and others. So there's a question from Damini and Kamini. I think we are also coming to an end, Vivek. Let's pick those up and we can then ask for the last thoughts.
Sure.
So
Damini,
Preeti has a very good question also, you know, we can pick up Preeti's questions first and then we can take up Damini's.
You're talking about the judgmental society, yes. So Damini is asking, we have a judgmental society. If you're doing something different, you get judged. But at times you're pretending to be okay with being judged. How to become strong enough? Yeah, so this is a very good question, Damini. You get the award for the question of the day. Because I myself used to find it very difficult to stop thinking about what people will think. And when I was growing up, I used to worry, what will my coach think in cricket? What will my teacher think? What will uncle think? So I gradually got over it. One should not really be bothered too much about what people. Of course, one has to follow norms and live in society. So you cannot be too wild in your personality, but you have to be confident. And if supposing you want to learn Kathak or salsa or badminton and somebody's stopping you, then it's not okay for them to stop you. And if they're judging you and passing comments on you, these people, they pass a judgment or comment and they go to sleep. And you are lying awake at night while wondering why this person said this to me. So we need to forget it and take it with a pinch of salt. Don't get affected by it, and gradually you'll get over it.
I'll say, Damini, it's your life. You have to live it. Be bold. You will succeed. Trust me that if there's any negative person in your life, just kick that person out of your life. Move on in life. We've all done that. People like Vivek and I have moved on. And that's the only way. Do not be afraid of what people will say. You have to live your life because it's your life. So Preeti is asking Vivek, how do I control my emotions in front of others? Because sometimes people make a fun of me.
Yeah, that's right. So I think people making fun is something which we feel very bad about when we are in school or college. It becomes a little easier to handle such people later. And children, teenagers are more active and prone to making fun of their friends. Grown-ups don't normally do it, but it is okay to be emotional. I mean, emotional is what? Two ways in which people can be emotional. One is to show your delight, your happiness, to dance in joy when something good happens. The other is to maybe cry in front of others. This is the worst kind of feeling is there, and you start crying. It's okay to do both. The only emotion you don't have to show is wild anger. When you start throwing things at people and getting wild with anger, don't do that. But otherwise, it's okay to be emotional in front of others.
Absolutely. I think sometimes showing emotion is the best way to build friends, to get support from them. So just don't control your emotions too much. I've also learned, Vivek, over the years that people who keep on eating their emotions, don't express them in some form or the
Yeah.
other, end up actually being more unhappy than people who express their relationships. So do express your emotions to your friends, to your family. Like I said, people who do that, who are not loners, who have friends, are actually more successful and healthier than others. You know, we are coming to an end, and Diljit Singh has said something very nice, and we agree with that. We're also followers of Paramhansa Yogananda. Diljit Ji, he's saying that you follow Yogananda Paramhansa, and every solution of life is solved. I wouldn't say every solution of life is solved just by following Yogananda Paramhansa, but it can really, really help you in so many different things. Look at Vivek, you know, his face glows all the time. He's got sparkling eyes, and it comes from all the meditation he does every day. So even if you are in your college and you might be laughing at the word meditation, students, do that. Trust me, it helps a lot. It's yssofindia.org. That's something that you can check. I'd also like to say that, Vivek, I was reading that people who are doing new things every day, people who are finding new friends every day, tend to be again happier and healthier and mentally saner. So don't keep on doing the same thing again and again. Find new things to do. Don't keep watching television. Don't keep watching your Facebook and WhatsApp. Read a new book, make a new friend, learn a new hobby, and you'll see that depression will sort of go away. So those are last thoughts from my side. Vivek, any thoughts from your end? And then we'll request Dr. Mehta or Sandeep to come on stage.
Yes,
And
Atul, I've written my contacts, so whatever, I mean, details, you could also just mention your
Sure.
ID and all. So till
Absolutely.
then, my last thoughts are that, firstly, young people, be positive. Don't worry about life too much. Career bhi ho jayega, everything will be sorted out. Don't worry. We always fret and worry because of pressure of society. So don't think too much about what your auntie said, neighboring auntie or Masi from Delhi. Don't worry about them. Worry only about your parents and your immediate family, and worry about yourself. Try meditating a little bit, sitting down and calmly spending 10, 15 minutes. You'll find life becomes easier to handle. So at a young age, if you start like this, control your emotions, be positive and cheerful, creative, you'll be successful.
So I have one last thing to all of you. You're all great kids. You're all great professors. You're Himachalis. There's a thing about Himachal people, Vivek, that we are all very honest people. We're very hardworking people. So don't lose that trait, dear friends. Continue to be hardworking. Continue to be honest. I know you're a little shy because that's the way we are. Our society is shy. So you'll build those skills over time. But if someone tells you you need to be so-called chalu, then please don't inculcate that thought. Continue with your honesty, continue with your integrity, continue with the hard work, and you will be very successful. Trust me on this one. Vivek, last thoughts before we say goodbye. I'll also request Sandeep sir or Mehta sir to come before we call it a day. Sandeep sir,
Thank you very
if
much,
you can.
Atul. It was wonderful to be talking on emotional intelligence, such a very energizing subject in itself. And very good questions I saw. So I've given my details to you. I've also mentioned my book, also mentioned the website of ISS of India. Please meditate to find greater peace in life. I think that is a message to follow.
And I would say, Hakuna Matata, be happy, don't worry too much, and you'll all be very successful. Sandeep sir, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Can you hear me? Am
Yes.
I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. On behalf of Center of Excellence, Government College Sanjoli, the only Center of Excellence in Himachal Pradesh, it is my proud privilege to propose the formal vote of thanks on the conclusion of this highly informative, interactive, and thought-provoking webinar organized by our premier institution in collaboration with Shulin University, one of the most reputed and highly ranked university of not only North India but all India. I take this opportunity to extend my sincere gratitude and gratefulness to both of you, Atre sir and Khosla sir, because you were complimenting each other during the whole conversation. So I will extend my thanks to both of you simultaneously. I would like to give my feedback also regarding this conversation, this live session. Sir, before attending this session, I knew very little about this very less discussed and very less known concept of emotional intelligence. After listening to both of you, I can say that I will be able to add another dimension in my personality, and I will also be able to transmit this trait or this dimension to my students whom I will be teaching, and also to my kids. Sir, Atre sir, you rightly mentioned that a negative person cannot be creative and a creative person cannot be negative. This is really thought provoking. कहने को ये बहुत छोटी सी बात है, but it touched my heart. Sir, both of you narrated the concept of emotional intelligence through a number of inspirational stories by giving the examples of so many legends around us, cricketers, sports persons, actors, and so many real life heroes which we see in our daily life. Atre sir, you very rightly compared the personalities of Mr. Barack Obama and Mr. Trump. I need not to comment on this. Atul sir, you narrated the story of one of your students, Aman, I think, and
Yes.
you rightly correlated it with emotional intelligence, if I'm not wrong. Many of our students were also connected to us, sir. So on behalf of all those students, I am really thankful to you for giving such a wonderful talk, and I sincerely hope that in future also we will be organizing many more such interactive sessions through webinars. And on behalf of students, I would like to extend thanks, because some of the students, they were asking me through WhatsApp that you express our sincere gratitude to the organizers. So I am really thankful to you all. One more thing I would like to say, I strongly believe that uh, as far as students are concerned, I am telling this for students. I strongly believe that, dear students, I think that this talk will change your personality, and I hope that you will be able to uh, keep yourself calm, composed, and you will be able to add some more dimensions in your personality to shape your career in your future. Last but not least, I would like to thank all the professors from all across the state who attended this webinar. Also, I extend my sincere thanks to the students of Center of Excellence, Government College Sanjoli, as well as students across the state. I was told that many of the students from other colleges like RKMV and other colleges, they also participated in this webinar. I don't know exact number of these students. Finally, it is my pleasure to thank the technical team of Shulin University who has made this event a great success. I would like to mention the name of Mr. Gaurav Bali, especially, who has took a lot of pain to organize this webinar. And it is the efforts of Mr. Bali that we were able to organize this webinar. On behalf of Center of Excellence, it is my pleasure to thank you all. Last but not least, I would like to mention one more thing. We were the other day we were discussing, me and Mr. Bali. We were discussing that in near future we will be organizing another talk with Mr. Atre and Mr. Khosla, because I am also a office bearer of Himachal Government College Teachers Association, the only elected teachers association in Himachal Pradesh. So we have talked to Mr. Bali that in near future we will be discussing some more issues with you, sir, Atre sir, and Mr. Khosla. So I once again thank you all for this wonderful talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sandeep. What wonderful words. As you were speaking, there was one last thought I wanted to share with the teachers and the students over here. At one level, we are going through very tough times, dear teachers, dear students. Yes. At another level, there is a great opportunity for all of us. It's an opportunity for us to what I call upskill ourselves. There's so many things we always wanted to do. We wanted to learn cooking, for example. We wanted to learn music. We wanted to learn to speak. We wanted to learn physics or astronomy or whatever. All that you want is there at a touch of a button on wonderful YouTube videos or TEDx talks or master classes. Upskill yourself, dear students. Upskill yourself, dear teachers. This time will not come again. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Sandeep sir, Mehta sir, all the teachers, all the students, but more importantly, my very dear friend Vivek. Thank you very much, and thank you, Gaurav Bali. Have a great day. Be happy. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.